But there has been a big return to Tottenham Hotspur. It's been rumoured. It's been talked about. People saying it was on. People saying it was off. He was off to Milan at one point. That was set to happen. But it's been confirmed today by Tottenham Hotspur. Don Fabio is back in the house. He's back in the building as sporting director of Tottenham Hotspur. And he joins Johan Lange as, I guess, co-sporting directors, or they're both. Johan Lange has had what do you call promotion? He's going up in the ranks, and him and Fabio are going to be sporting directors together, announced by Tottenham Hotspur. It is big, big news. The Don is back. A statement reads on the website, "We are delighted to announce the return of Fabio Paratici to the club as sporting director. Fabio will partner with Johan Lange, promoted to also become sporting director. This is part of a new structure for our men's football operations designed to strengthen leadership, collaboration and long-term decision-making across all areas of the men's and boys' game. Together, they will lead our men's football strategy and drive an ambitious new chapter for the club. This evolution forms part of the club's continued investment in world-class men's and women's football structure designed to deliver sustained on-pitch success. Johan and Fabio's combined expertise will ensure that every decision from player pathway, performance development to scouting and recruitment is aligned, and support is one overarching goal to building a winning world-class men's team that endures. This partnership reflects a progressive approach to modern football operations, uniting two proven leaders with complementary experience and a commitment to collaboration and innovation. Fabio, who returns to the club following a 2-year spell between 21 and 23, after more than a decade at Juventus and a formative period at UC Sampdoria, said, "I'm delighted to be returning to the club that I love." The club that I love. Wow, the club of his heart.
There we go.
He said he was a boyhood Spurs fan. Apparently.
There you go. It's his dream.
It's his dream. I've been working with Johan, Vinay and Thomas as a consultant for a number of months, and I now look forward to returning to London and joining the team full-time. I'm convinced that working in partnership with Johan, we can build a special future for the club and our supporters. Johan, who joined the club in November 23 after a key role at Aston Villa and FC Copenhagen, added, "I firmly believe we were building something special at Tottenham, and I am looking forward to working with Fabio as part of our new men's footballing structure. We are delighted. We have a talented group of staff and players at the club, and we can look forward with confidence and positivity." Tottenham Hotspur CEO Vinay Venkatesham has said, "This is an important evolution in how we operate. The remit of a sporting director today is vast, and by uniting two exceptional leaders in Johan and Fabio, we are setting the foundations for sustained success. They are both outstanding football minds with complementary expertise and strong track records. This structure reflects on our ambition and our determination to compete at the very highest level to deliver for our supporters. Together, Fabio and Johan will lead with a purpose, building not only a competitive men's squad, but a connected football ecosystem where every detail contributes to our shared ambition to make our club a benchmark for excellence in the football world. To complete the structure, the club will also shortly start recruitment as a director of football operations who will support Johan and Fabio and manage a number of key functions and departments across the training centre." That is the statement put out by Tottenham Hotspur on the announcement of the return of Fabio Paratici. A lot of excitement in the air. A lot of people who have been calling for this, have wanted for this. There was rumours that Daniel Levy leaving might have scuppered this happening, but it hasn't. He's returned as sporting director. What are your immediate thoughts?
My immediate thought, I'm actually... We look at this, and when Levy left, the only way ENIC could start showing that things are going to be different is by either getting people on long-term contracts, and I saw you guys talking yesterday about Van der Ven, which will be a huge statement, and giving them the wages that they deserve. And there's nothing that could really be done for on-the-pitch success that they could show till January. But you look at it this week where it was rumoured to be discussed, or there was a discussion with Frank and the transfer committee and everything about what they want to do in January, which is music to our ears. And again, in the international break, they've dropped another bombshell by bringing Paratici back. Whether you fans loved him or hated him or disliked him because of what he's done and the transfers he brought in, it looks like Spurs are getting everything in gear and ENIC to show that January we're going to try and prove that our actions are going to match our words. And this new structure and bringing him on board, Vinay said when he did his interview back in, I think when Levy left, saying it was about empowering the people to do what they have the expertise, to have a voice and do what they do. Well, it looks like they're getting all the ducks in a row ready for January and potential other windows. And this could be only looked as a positive. Again, we're going in the right track to bring on the field success.
Absolutely. And I think for me, I think Fabio, as much as he's a intoxicating figure in a way because of his name, how he operates, he's the opposite of Johan in terms of Johan, we know, works in the shadows. He works with a cloud of darkness. And he likes to keep things under wraps. Fabio's the complete opposite. He'll have 5-10 deals lined up, and he'll be openly discussing it with everyone, making sure people know that we're making moves. And it's almost like he wants people to be aware and Tottenham are, active in the market and all this kind of stuff. And then he'll line up a load of deals and he'll pull the trigger on what deal he thinks is the best one. What I like about Fabio and what I think he's very, very good at, and I think people maybe this is his biggest strength. He's very convincing, and he is very good at getting a deal done. He's very good at getting deals done, formulating a deal that works for everyone. Getting certain add-ons, getting certain loan with options to buy. You look at the deals with Bentancur Kulusevski he got done, brilliantly priced deals. Kulusevski was an 18-month loan deal with an option to buy if it went well. Bentancur was about 20 million. He's very good at when he gets talking to someone and gets talking to a club. Very often he doesn't take no for an answer. He always finds a way, doesn't he, of getting a deal over the line or getting an agreement sorted. I feel like Johan struggled with that a bit. The amount of times we almost got deals done or things he approached for, and you think about even how many times like Matisse Tell or other players have they credited either talking with Ange or talking with Frank about what was a clincher, whereas Lange, seemingly his own personality wasn't convincing enough to get players to agree for themselves. I feel like when I even see him, you can see he's not the most charismatic figure. Like Fabio, who's got a bit charisma, he's got something about him. Johan seems to be like the analytical guy, the nerd guy. He knows the numbers. He can identify players via certain data tracks. He will maybe spot undervalued money in the market, undervalued potential in the market for a player. He will be better at identifying players, and he's been quite good at bringing younger players.
He's been very good.
But on the flip side, I think Fabio likes the bigger names. He has the relationships with the clubs. He would be like, he can call up a club and Sarri and be like, okay, we've known each other for 30 years. What can you do for me? Who's available? Who do you reckon if we make a bid for? He has these relationships at all these clubs, having been sporting director at Juve for so long. That's what he brings to the table. All this networking, all the relationships he has at certain clubs to get deals over the line. Famously, I think. I'm trying to remember what signing it was. I don't remember what signing it was off the top of my head. There was a famous story about Fabio. He was going head-to-head, I think, with AC Milan for a player. And he bid less, like a bit less than Milan did. And he had a very good relationship with the selling club's sporting director. And the sporting director said, you're going to have to match, Milan's bid. And he said, we've built our relationship, us two, over X amount of years. I didn't build a good relationship with you so that I could pay the same as anyone else bidding.
Yep.
We have a relationship so that I get a better deal. That's what a relationship's all about. And he end up paying less. Like, he knows that's what he brings to the table, that kind of side of things. But I also feel sometimes he'll either go for, like, people he knows or a big name rather than maybe what's, you know, a best fit. And maybe that's where Johan comes in. And he can, like, you know, say, actually, he's a good player, big name, but he's actually not the best for what we need, and actually we need someone more like this. So I think they can complement each other quite well.
I think you're right, and it's with that story you just told. You look at it. We and me specifically used to say that Levy has to win every single negotiation, and rather than building relationships, he's burning bridges. Well, what you've just said is Paratici building relationships, and we all know, regardless if Fabio had come back, this transfer window and future transfer windows, we're going to see a very different approach to transfers.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be Daniel Levy and what he does and what had gone stagnant. It's going to be a fresh approach from Tottenham, whoever was in charge. And now, like you said, it looks like these roles have been split. And obviously we're going to play the videos so people will understand how it's been split and who's doing what. But I do agree with you. I think Lange was really, really bad for the first team, as in transfers and trying to get deals done, and the way he not
like
his approach,
improving the first team,
but
like in terms of players proving his starting 11. Like, I mean, this time he did all right, but I think, you know, that summer, second season under Ange, that summer, you know, was a complete disaster in hindsight. It should have been a lot better, but you can't deny he also did bring in good players.
No, I agree.
They didn't improve us, but they're good players.
Correct, and I think he did do well with youngsters, i.e. Bergvall.
Yeah,
I think he did do well with that. I think trying to get the big fish over the line, I think he struggled. And if you look at it, when we talk about gatekeepers and try to get past those gatekeepers, are you going to take a call from Fabio Paratici or Johan Lange? My bet is you're going to take that call from Paratici over the call from Lange. We'll see if it can be a match made in heaven. But what I do like about this is it does look like we are bringing people in that are specialists in their area of expertise. And this new approach Tottenham with Enoch and Charlie and Vivian may be that these people that have the strong voice in these departments will be listened to and have some skin in the game, and we see where it goes through on transfer windows about to commence.
Yeah. In terms of him getting this role full time, obviously he's been in a consultancy role for the past 2 years. Is this, do you think, just making that role that he's been doing for the last few years official, so that we can start doing it without calling it consultancy role, or do you generally think his role has actually changed and he's now going to have all these responsibilities that he didn't have for the last 2 years?
I think it was good that we made it official. I
guess the question I'm asking is, was he doing this job for the last 2 years without officially doing it? Do you think?
That we'll never know. I mean, he said he spoke with Frank a lot during the summer about targets and everything. And do you know what? Thomas Frank seems to have approved and said he worked with this kind of two sporting directors set up at Brentford, and we know how well that works. So that's the most important thing, that Frank is approving this rather than we've seen it before. Like Newcastle with Eddie Howe, the manager and director of football relationships can turn sour very, very quickly or be a power struggle. Has Paratici been doing this for 2 years? Yeah, I think so. I think it's the exact thing, but it's good to see it's official. And again now, kind of, we're in uncharted territory, aren't we? Has Paratici, like Paul Mitchell and other managers, lost out on potential players because of Levy's micromanaging or him not approving that one? Well, we're all going to see in these future windows, aren't we? If it had been Levy holding us back, or if Enoch's actions speak, or words speak as loud as their actions. It's just a very refreshing and optimistic time to be a Spurs fan.
And Johan getting a promotion, so they've both got the same title. Obviously, there's been a lot of criticism for him over his time at Tottenham. A lot of people saying, questioning whether he's done a good job or not. As you say, a lot of people praise him for a lot of the work with a lot of the younger players, but when it's come to improving the team, it's been a struggle. But this summer, Xavi in, Paulinho in, Moani in, He's obviously got Kudus in. We've gone quite a way of rectifying that, haven't we? And if you're going to give him criticism last year, you've got to give him praise this year for the transfer window that we've had. Do you think it's a good thing we've kept him on? Would you have liked to see us move on from him? And also another question: will there be a clash of egos with them both being given the same title now?
I think that's the big question. But let's answer that first question first with Lange staying.
Yeah, are you happy with him staying?
With the way the roles have been split, yes. If those
promotion,
do you know what? It's when we say promotion, is it just giving him a title so he's on par with?
Well, they said in the statement they said they're going to give his old job to someone else. They're going
so there you go. So then it is a promotion. Fair play. Then fair play. Let's see what he's got. Like I said, when they said he's quite analytical and everything, the roles he's been given, he could probably thrive in. I do believe. I think he's been taken out of the spotlight as well because he was very much under the spotlight when Fabio wasn't here. That he is the main man. Why aren't you on the phone all the time? Like for Paratici was always seen. I think the new role that he's got, like I said, I'm willing to give everything a go. Now the one I wanted out has gone. Let's see if they can work together. I'm sure they will be able to. They got to deal with Frank as well, and it looks like, from what we've heard, they do get on well. They do have ideas of what they want to do. Fabio will do what he does. Let's see. I am very optimistic for it. Let's see what January brings. Let's see what the summer brings. Then we'll have a better idea, won't we? But right here, right now, everything that Spurs are doing has been positive. 100 million. They've put 100 million in, whether that's for transfers or not. They've put 100 million in, which they've only done once before with the 150 with the war chest. Bentancur signed a long-term contract. It's been in the offing. Hopefully Van der Ven will. We've now got Fabio back, and there's 2 directors of football. There's meetings being taken place ready to discuss what's happening for January and what Frank wants. So everything seems like it's going in the right direction for on-the-field matters, and we will only truly tell in January and the summer. So I think they're getting all their ducks in a row ready for a productive transfer window. And everything they're doing right now is only positive in the way as a Tottenham Hotspur supporter. I
agree. The only reservation I like, in theory, the way these two operate, and they could complement each other. I think they both have different strengths in the market and how they approach transfers and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I do wonder, and I do wonder if it'll ever come to a head, is if Fabio's got a deal lined up and he wants to get it done, and Johan's like, the data doesn't say he's actually the right fit, and there's reasons why we shouldn't sign him. But Fabio's convinced this guy, he's going to be the next big thing, or he's this guy. It's like, you've got to get him through the door. It's going to be a big mistake if we don't. Like, who overrules who makes that final decision? Are they going to butt heads on that? Disagreeing isn't a bad thing. It's not. I don't mind. I think disagreeing is healthy, but it's whether they'll overcome those kind of disagreements and whether their egos will get in the way of both thinking they're right, and how that will be resolved. Maybe they're both, got a good relationship. I don't know, behind the scenes. I hope that's the case. I'm not assuming it's not. I just wonder, when you do this, you give 2 people the same title. No one is each other's boss. They're both kind of accountable to each other. Who gets the final say? Who's the one who, when push comes to shove, they're going to go with? And maybe it's a group decision, that those kind of things. Maybe it's not left to those 2, but those are the things you kind of worry about when you have two sporting directors like that.
Well, I would hope, if it comes to that, and let's face it, at some point they're not going to agree on a player and everything. I would hope when that happens, they will go with what Thomas Frank says finally, and say, right, you think this, I think this, but for the team, I feel that Johan's right or Fabio's right, and Thomas Frank will get the final say on approach to that. They're going to disagree, aren't they? They really are going to disagree on certain things, but I would really hope that Thomas Frank and there's no dickhead policy, and everything that goes on with within the club now will now go through him, and he would, in those circumstances, hopefully have the final say.
I also think Fabio coming back now at this time is very positive, because I think when he was here first, he was, I think he's a great sporting director, but the way we were operating, I don't think suited a director of football like Fabio. His remit of Juve was, we're at the top, how do we stay at the top for the next 10 years? Let's sign this, this mid-table Serie A's best player. Let's pick the best player from these weaker teams and keep ourselves at the top. That was the way they were doing it under him. That was his remit. At Tottenham, it was like, your remit is to, get us to a team who's big and get to a team that's challenging for titles regularly, all that kind of stuff. But we obviously, in the transfer market, weren't operating budget-wise for that. Now, I think with new direction we're going in, more money available, I think now's a better time to have him in charge if we're going to operate in a different way.
Wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly. I don't think he would have signed Galini's, Brian Hill's, Emerson Royale's out of Juve, would he? I don't think he would have even entertained it. He won't be on a budget, so to speak, as he would have been, and we all know he would have been at the time. So don't get me wrong, Spurs will still work within a structure, but I think now, as they've said, they want on-the-field success. Even when they put the investment in, they said this is the initial, which is the key word in that. I think he will have a complete different remit. I think he will be able to not just try and find diamonds in the rough or people that wanted out of the club like Benson, Cole and Kulusevski. I think that quality of player will be the starting position that we can try and get. And now that Fabio, let's face it, he has got a very extensive list of good relationships and clubs that he's built relationships with, and that can only benefit Tottenham Hotspur now.
All right, well, look, that is the news. Don Paratici returns to Tottenham, but we're not stopping there with a reaction. Vinay has been talking